we're using the drop and magenta mode to composite some animation frames over a background using layers. And in this demo we have a couple of drawings of a horse that was in the Cowboy Shorts movie. You can see here I'm adding a layer and I'm making it the bottom layer. I'm getting ready to draw a simple background. Cowboy Shorts was very simplistic in style. All the scenery was drawn with a mouse. I wanted to keep it simple, something that just anybody could do in a short amount of time without too much effort. I'm just going to use the flood fill tool here to quickly fill in these shapes I blocked out. As you can see, this is a old west scene with a cactus and some desert and some clouds and things. Nothing really complicated. Really wanted to concentrate on just telling a few jokes, and people have criticized my jokes, but that's okay. They're just jokes. Not brain surgery. It's not rocket science. Getting ready to use the timeline to make the background magenta instead of white. That'll allow me to use that drop magenta mode on that layer. That basically takes magenta and drops that out so you can see the layer underneath it. I drew these characters with a mouse using the airbrush tool, but then I went back and used the threshold filter to just make it simple black and white drawings. That allows the flood fill tool to be used much more simply without having to do any cleanup. As you can see here, I'm flood filling those, and you see that background underneath the horse. But as we're flood filling, it's not taking that background into account. Just the foreground, the horse, and the lines of the horse, and that's it. And I think I had maybe 7 or 8 frames of this horse, various poses, chewing and talking and smiling. And that was about all the gags we needed for this scene here. And the idea with Cowboy Shorts was that we just wanted to keep it really simple. A few frames, and we used the frame painter tool, which was new in version 5.1, I believe, which lets you take a small number of frames and sequence them into a larger number of frames, sort of like old limited animation, like Hanna-Barbera, Yogi Bear, and that kind of thing, Flintstones. It would take, well, they used layers of celluloid sheets, but the idea was you'd have a very few number of drawings, and they'd use an exposure sheet to record the drawings over and over again at different times to get longer animations. We're using the frame painter, which is access to the exposure sheet here, as you can see, just to take these few frames we have and then sequence them out into this longer animation of about looks like 40 something frames, maybe 60. This is basically a horse chewing some grass, and then he smiles and he flicks his ears around, that kind of thing. In the Cowboy Shorts cartoon, I had somebody talking off screen to the horse, and the horse answered kind of while chewing, and then he smiled and that kind of thing. We also used what's called the wiggle mold, or the wiggle hold, on these cartoons. That makes it less static looking. It gives it a little bit of a wiggle, like all the frames have been drawn by hand, and there's a little bit of variation between each frame. Sort of an automatic way of simulating a hand-drawn cartoon. And as you can see, that's being applied to the final animation now. that's done, I'll just close the frame painter and go back to my my animation here. And I'll be able to scrub through it. As you can see, you can scrub through the animation, which is on a layer, and you can still see that background image, which is on a layer by itself. Here I'm changing the frame rate to 10 frames per second, which is what was used on the Cowboy Shorts movie. And I play that, and you can see the final animation of, let's see, 60 times, I guess it'd be, what, 6 seconds or something like that. I'm a little rusty on my math, but you know. 6 seconds of animation taken from maybe 6 or 8 frames of actual frames. And now here's a final afterthought. I decided to blur that background, and I'm able to do that on that because it's on that layer, and still work on my animation, which is what you're seeing here, the final result. And there you have it.